Hello, hey, hi everybody, social media family, and or any visitors to that been in my own personal channel, chat room, and or comment section, especially any subscribers to some such as we have it here. I am sorry that I haven't been on since the last time I was on here. Quite a while. Well, I wouldn't say it's been a long time since I was on here last, but it's been quite a good while. Yeah, I was feeling kind of like up under the weather. Speaking on that last, and it kind of complements the present social media broadcast or video, being of which I'm airing here and now. After I have gone about taking care of the necessary business at hand, been in the preliminary stages of development or developments, however said, that's been correct, proper standard English grammar of the American dialect of some such quality and quantities or not. So far the basic intro before I were to get into it or dive right in, to the present social media broadcast content or video as we have it here, to complement the title. And as it is regarding or making reference to a present mayor of a major U.S. American city attempting to dictate to a police department, and as she herself goes about it in an undemocratic way for the Midwest of the USA, how they been police officers or police officials supposedly have to take that vaccine, being of which defies the democratic process of political government as we have it within the continental USA, United States of America. And whereas these colors, as you see, some are such here. No, sorry about that. Wrong color. No, not wrong color. Right color, but wrong t-shirt. That is why I say correction. Prince of Peace continued to regulate my mind, compared to the Prince of Darkness. Attempts to confuse my speech, and as I think of it with that in my mind's attention, to try to backtrack here with reason or purpose of being, or else I can go on following to continue from where and when that my person had last left off, so I can finish up as in complete a form of previous prior line of thought, and then saints this word. And whereas these colors don't run. You hear what I'm saying? And God bless the USA. Well, you can't see it so much at the moment. I'll show it again. Trying to give 10 minutes of solitude, 1/3 of time to some of such what is it, darkness until 2/3 of it go for the light. Kind of like representing not that I'm condoning that the underworld or so forth, but to complement some of such biblical passages, in regard to or representing 1/3 of the fallen angels. 1/3, did I say 1/3 of the fallen? Sorry about that. Prince Peace continued regular my mind compared to Prince happiness to conclude it. As I think about it with that in my mind's attention, try backtrack here. We know purpose of being, and also I could go on to follow to continue from where I went. But my person had last left off, so I can finish up as a completed form free fire line thought. And to compliment 1/3 of the angels who had become of the fallen angels compared to 2/3 of the angels who were otherwise. So 2/3 of the broadcast for the present amount of time will be in the light compared to 1/3 in the dark. So around about 10 minutes, for a half an hour social media broadcast. Anyway, though, these colors don't run, as you see. And anybody that threatens the USA, be it for the incident that happened on January 6th, or whenever and wherever, it's not likely to happen anytime too soon up again. That's including you, Lori Lightfoot, present mayor of the city of Chicago, who wants to dictate this to the Chicago Police Department that the employees of some of such of an institution as that being, or that being in which supports a democratic republic or democracy, has to take that bogus vaccine. You're wrong, Lori Lightfoot. Our present historical black female or woman mayor of the city of Chicago, Illinois, USA, from the Midwest here, and likewise our first LGBT community mayor. You know, you cannot do that. But anyway, though, yes, she's attempting to dismantle the political process of our democratic republic or democracy by spearheading a commie movement, a political communist or socialist movement within the city limits of metropolitan Chicago, Illinois, by first and foremost, seemingly and supposedly and seriously attacking the Chicago Police Department by giving, you know, police officials or police officers their own personal mandate to either take the vaccine or be kicked to the curb, as in be given the pink slip. And that's wrong for you to do that. But anyway, though, let me backtrack here. First of all, peace and folks, my social media family, and any visitors to my own personal chat room, channel, and our comment section, so that I can complete the basic intro as an introduction before I were to go any further into this discussion of a topic, to be debated, or as we have the subject matter at hand, being as it is for a given argument with the pros and cons or the many different views and opinions to be associated with some or such thereof, that is those who support and those who protest that being of this one political move coming from a major American or U.S. politician for a major metropolitan city within the Midwest of the USA, United States of America. And as I had stated for that of the record, being the former previous prior mentioned. But then how are you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay. If not better yet, to be said, to be feeling all right, or not best of all, to be said, to be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, or too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. You and yours, your family and friends, and hopefully me and mine, likewise as well, or all the same, or anybody being of whom I still consider as family to me, be they related to me or not. That is any immediate household members for that of my own, or any friends that being which is to be possibly considered, and that's including any relatives, otherwise the cousins, you know. But anyway, I guess I'm feeling okay, hopefully at least, compared to how I felt like before then. Well, I'm still feeling kind of on the weather, but not as much as before. Hopefully not. And whereas I'm wondering, is it something, if it is something that has to do with how I have my suspicions or suspect that a doctor or a nurse could have injected me with that vaccine that supposedly, is one that's supposed to fight off the coronavirus or COVID-19. I mean, anytime the pharmaceutical industry and joint cooperation to complement that of the medical community produces any medicine or a drug that has not gone through the necessary process to be administered or distributed to the general public or the people at large, if it has not been gone, if it's not been, oh, sorry, if it's not been put through the necessary process for it to be considered as a safe means to combat some kind of a disease or epidemic or pandemic, then it could endanger more than quite a few other persons or people's lives. They say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, but this particular vaccine has not gone through the necessary, that is the preferred necessary time frame period of years to be tested before it were to be administered to human beings. I have to now. I'm gonna turn on some light. What's this evening? So they don't. I have reached the 10-minute 1/3 time frame period. So now the 2/3 time frame period of light for the social media broadcast of video. And wait, though, getting back to some of such other. I mean, the original topic of discussion, subject matter, or of a given argument, or whatever I say. And whereas any medicine or drug has to go through the regimen or routine time frame period of years to be tested, and then from there administered to the lesser species of creatures representing and or to be associated with the animal kingdom before it were to be given to humans. And this vaccine is supposed to fight the coronavirus or the global COVID-19 pandemic has not gone through the necessary required time frame period of testing. Whereas, as a matter of fact, they had produced it within a time frame period of nothing more than for, like from a year to a year and a half. And that's really kind of scary to have to consider the thought, or to think about it being as it is the case and or situation. So for Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of the metropolitan city of Chicago, Illinois, USA, to dictate to the Chicago Police Department that its public servants of officials or officers have to take the vaccine is totally ridiculous, not to mention undemocratic. It defies the democratic process of our own American or U.S. government, and would complement that of Nazi Germany during World War II upon the continent of Europe. And not everybody is in favor of that vaccine, and I'm one of them, And whereas as I've said and stated for the record before, then so I do so now once again. Yes, these colors. Oh, sorry, look more like a Mexican T-shirt. I'm supposed to still be Latin and Puerto Rican or Lavaza. But these colors is what I meant to say. See, these colors don't run. Lori Lightfoot, you hear? I don't care what your communist or socialist agenda may be, but these colors don't run. These colors don't run is what I meant to say. Though our former ex-president of the USA did not win the political process to retain his seat in government as the commander-in-chief and president of our own Democratic Republic or democracy, And although he was impeached twice, but nevertheless he was acquitted twice as well. Regardless of whether or not he had something to do with the insurrection that happened January 6th, or the beginning of this calendar year, as we have the 2021. And here it is now, October. But these colors don't run, Lori. Be you working with George Soros, that Jew or Jewish white boy or white guy, white fella who supports the supposed so-called Black Lives Matter movement, being of which does not represent a black race of people's persons, then because it's funded by communists and or socialists. If anything, the Black Panther Party represents black people's interests more than the supposed so-called Black Lives Matter movement, whereas it's, if anything, the latter is supported by a communist or socialist Jew who could care less about the Democratic Republic or democracy as we have it of the USA. Well, some say it's a supposed so-called Democratic Republic or democracy. that is no more than a big old oil company, you know, with his own private police and military force. Not that I'm wagging the dog, but then getting back to the original topic of discussion, and I still believe in America. I believe in America, the red, white, and blue. Oh wow, I'm gonna keep grabbing the wrong shirt. Stop it, devil. May God get the glory. I believe in America, the red, white, and blue. These colors don't run, Lori. I don't know what you're trying to do. Attempt to do with George Soros. George Soros. In case some of you may be wondering who is George Soros. For those of you who don't know who he is compared to others among us who do, he is a white boy. He's a white Jewish guy or fella whose his ancestors were being persecuted upon the continent of Europe as they would have gone to the death camps themselves, as the Nazis had taken control. The socialists, National Socialist Nazis, who are the rivals to the communists, had taken control of Europe, with a political coup d'etat, similar to what Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of the city of Chicago, is attempting to dismantle our own U.S. government, as she could be like collaborating with the enemies of our own Democratic Republic or U.S. or American democracy, being communists and socialists, you know, and Islamic Muslim terrorists as well as the Mexican drug lords. But anyway, George Soros, he himself is like the enemy, the democracies worldwide himself. And whereas his family tree of relatives, they were to be carted off to the death camps themselves, but his parents paid off Nazi officials not to escort or deport him to those concentration camps, being of which can be compared onto the makeshift concentration camps that Japanese Americans were put through during World War II. You know, and similar to the situation how Native American Indians are being deported from their native tribal lands for the big business corporations to attempt to profit off of the natural resources there for its permanent profit. Anyway, though, so George Soros' parents had paid off the Nazi officials to not only make him one of the exceptions to be sent to the concentration camps or the death camps all across Europe during World War II, but they also had paid off a Nazi official to adopt him to become this Nazi official's stepson. And from there, he immigrated to the USA and escaped the final solution, whereas 6 million white Jewish persons had become subject to experiencing mass genocide, or they were massacred, similar to how twice or three times as many blacks had become subject to experiencing that of mass genocide during the slave trade, you know, for the Middle Passage, from being transported from supposedly the mother country to the USA, the New World. But then there's a hypothetical theory or some kind of conspiracy thought where it says that blacks were supposedly the original Indians who were transported from the United States of America and then to the West Indies and then to Africa and then back to the USA as a further means to emasculate us of our identities, culture, and etc. Then that's a totally different story. Getting back to the original topic of discussion or something like that. before I lose my train of thought. And so George Soros, he had immigrated to the USA once he had escaped the edict of the destruction of the white Jewish. I wouldn't say unfortunately Hitler and his Nazi goons, because I'm not a racist like that. But then, whereas the original Jews are supposed to be blacks, but Hitler and his Nazi goons had attempted to wipe out the white Jewish race, but fortunately they did not get a chance to do so. You know, though they had committed mass genocide against 6 million white Jewish. And then, whereas from there, George Soros had immigrated to the USA after being adopted by this one high-ranking Nazi official, as well as his parents had paid off the Nazi officer of a commandant not to send him to the death camps. And he immigrated to the USA, but only after he had stolen more than enough real estate premises or properties of his own race of people, being of the white Jewish. And then once he come to the USA, but then he was probably, going about matters of being loyal to show his patriotism of being anti-democratic or to support clandestine radical revolutionary organizations, regardless be it political, militaristic, etc. And whereas he come to America, USA, and from there he had gone about a communist or socialist plot to co-establish and co-support, co-sponsor that is the supposed or so-called Black Lives Matter movement. Being of which does not care uh, about the USA in any regard. Okay. And as they suspect that Lori Lightfoot could be working hand in hand with this George Soros creep and crazy, who complements the conspiracy theory how the filthy rich of the one percenters want, not the one percenters as in any 1% MC motorcycle club. That's a different story, but the real one percenters, being of whom are the filthy rich who owns the majority of most of the world's wealth and riches and mineral resources, etc. Whereas they want to bump off 1 billion people, 1 billion persons in the world, so that they could be much better able to control the masses of us otherwise, representing the 99%. But then the people or persons who are the buffer zone, being of the middle class, are more or less to be considered of the filthy rich, though not as rich as the filthy rich. And so this Lori Lightfoot is like she's working in collaboration with all these different factions of society who want to dismantle a democratic republic or democracy as we have it in the USA. And so one of their first coup d'etats to complement the January 6th incident when racist radicals of the other kind of national socialists, don't get me wrong, not all socialists are bad. It's just those other ones who are more like complementing that of the Nazi thought. Not all communists are bad either, but I'm more of a capitalist than I am a communist or socialist. But anyway, so Lori Lightfoot, as she could possibly be working in cahoots with George Soros, wants to attack our own democratic republic or democracy by supposedly her own means, but then if anything, she's complimenting somebody else's line of thought all the same as a collaborator with them to dismantle our own democratic republic or democracy by attempting to mandate to the Chicago Police Department or the police, as we have for the Midwest, that each and every one of them supposedly has to take the vaccine or be given the pink slip of unemployment or be sent into the unemployment line. And that's wrong. That's wrong for you to do that, Lori Lightfoot, mayor. There's historical black female or woman mayor of the city of Chicago, Illinois, USA. And these colors don't run. These colors don't run, Lori. Oh, yes, I got it right this time. Is shirt upside down? No, it's right side. These colors don't run, Lori Lightfoot. America, defending freedom since 1776. These colors don't run, Lori Lightfoot. I don't know what mayor you think you are, but you ain't gonna come up like prima donna dictator Adolf Hitler in the city of Chicago. We ain't having it. You know. Hear what I'm saying? These colors don't run, Lori Lightfoot. Cut the crap out, you know. American citizens, the patriotic American citizens in the city of Chicago don't give in to dictators who wish to support a dictatorship within the continental USA. You got the wrong city for that. So keep doing what you're doing, Chicago police. Whoever don't want to take that vaccine, I'm in 100% agreement with you, Chicago police who are of the unvaccinated, and hopefully none of those doctors or nurses, hopefully not any one of those doctors or nurses had secretly given me that vaccine, you know. And to compliment what I was saying earlier, how that vaccine, or in other words, some say it's poison, you know. I mean, put it like this here, to put forth a case scenario. If somebody were to give you a lethal weapon of a firearm, a loaded lethal weapon of a firearm, be it registered or not, and be like saying, let's play Russian roulette. You go first, and then I'll go after you. And whereas, you know, there's 3 bullets in 3 chambers compared to the other 3 chambers being empty, or no, that's a worst case scenario. The better case scenario would be if there was to be only 1 bullet in the chamber, and the other 5 chambers are empty for a loaded lethal weapon of a firearm of that kind of sort of type of makeup model, you know. But you never know if they could be lying to you, this person or that person. They say you go first, and I'll go after you. Like this game of Russian roulette, you only had one. It only had 1 bullet in 1 chamber, and the rest of the chambers, the other 5 chambers, are empty. You know, you never know if that person could be lying to you. You know, it could be the total opposite. It could not only be a case scenario whereas there is like 3 bullets in 3 chambers, whereas the other 3 chambers are empty. It could be 5 bullets in 5 chambers where there's only 1 chamber that's empty. So would you play Russian roulette with your life like that? Take a vaccine that has not been properly approved by the FDA and the DEA, Food and Drug Administration, Department of Employment and Agriculture, or whatever. If it has not been gone through all the proper policies and procedures and protocol, the necessary developments, tests and distribution. You know, if it hadn't been given years of tests and been tested on animals, first and foremost, you're playing Russian roulette with your life if you permit somebody to give you some drug that has not gone through all the proper scientific developments of testing that will usually take a time frame period of years, not just for a year or year and a half. You know, that's crazy. But anyway, though, I'm going to conclude this broadcast as I would usually give the intro. I would speak upon a subject matter, 2 or a couple few or 3 or 4 more, depending on how I feel like some given moment in time. Then I will give the conclusion about it. And that by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, but recognize and realize what He Himself had done on the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, religious and otherwise, Pharisees, Sadducees, centurions and Caesars, etc. But then, in less ways, He went to that cross of Calvary so that you don't have to worry about ending up in the lake of fire, damn hell, if you accept Him as your personal Lord and Savior while you're still here in this world. Because if you don't, that is your final destination. Y'all take care and be safe. We out. Peace.